My question was, in terms of preparation, what's the best preparation? Is it business strategy? Is that all what it is? It's like just making sure you can build your business in a way where you get that optionality in the future, or meets with someone in specific sectors to help you in certain areas?
Yeah, I think, it depends on what your skill set is and everything else. But the two biggest things that are drivers or deal killers typically in deals, again, you got to if you put your buyer hat on going, where is the risk? Where are the single points of failure that if I'm a buyer and I'm buying your company, Joey, if A or B happened, the company, would fall apart. What are those things? For most times it's the owner is the business. So did you build out a management team? If you've got a management team there, that opens up the world to so many more buyers, because now you've got a proven management team. You can take yourself out. Management team stays in. They get some incentives to go forward, to get some equity or whatever it might be, and life is good. The other is how well diverse is your customer base. You got two customers or two businesses. One doing, both doing 10 million in sales. One's doing $1.8 million EBITDA. The other one's doing $2 million EBITDA. Which one would you buy? Well, I'd buy the one that $2 million EBITDA because it's making more. But then if the 1.8, their top customer is 5%.
Yeah.
And on the other one where it's $2 million the bottom line, but their top customer is 55%. Now which one would you buy? Well, I'd buy A all day long, because if I lose 5%, I'm still in the game. If I lose 55%, I'm out of business. So those are, and again, and it's de-risking the company, it's process and systems, it's all the things. A lot of it is strategy, but I would say those are the biggest ones, because you could build up a $4 million EBITDA company, but if it's all based on Joey and Joey's knowledge and Joey's contacts and Joey's got the relationships, you can't sell it. You're gonna have to stay on a big earnout. And then you go, well, why the heck would I sell and stick around and be an employee for 3 years? I'll just keep running the business the way what I'm doing now. So it makes it much tougher. And going back on your, hey, if I get $50 million today, should I stay, or keep the 10 million? And that's where we really go back to, why did Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, why did you do it in the beginning? Why did you start this company in the first place?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. And most, yes, they saw an opportunity and need, but most it comes down to financial independence. Yeah. They want to be able to live the lifestyle at some point that they can. And that's why with our process, with our Insurance 360 process that we've developed, some of the earliest steps are, have the conversation, have a discovery call with an investment bank like Cornerstone, just to understand what's the lay of land, what's going on in the marketplace, how long does it take, whatever it might be. Get that RMA down. What is that real market analysis? What's that real value? What's my net number? What's my lifestyle number? You should never think about selling your business till you know those three numbers.
Repeat the three. Yeah. The three numbers.
So the three numbers are, what's your valuation? What's that? We call it the RMA, the real market analysis, because you've got to be careful, because again, M&A, investment banking, it's high stakes, right? People have never done this before. People get taken all the time. So there's groups out there, national groups, small groups, big groups, that will just tell you whatever you want to hear from a valuation standpoint to get a $50,000 retainer, and they sell 5 to 10% of the companies that they take on, talking to their employees. It's ridiculous, but that is a model that's out there. And so too many brokers or too many investment banks will tell you whatever you want to hear. So you need someone that's in the trenches that are going to give you a real number. And that's what we like to say, is that we're going to tell you not what you want to hear necessarily, Joey, but what you need to hear in order to make a well-informed decision. That's just one of our principles. That's one of our core principles. And then, so once you know that number, then you say, okay, it's 10 million bucks, easy number. Who cares? What am I going to net out of this thing? If I got 9 million in debt, I got $1 million in fees, I get a big goose egg. Probably not the right time to sell my business. Yeah. Even though 10 million could sound like a lot.
Taxes goes into that second number too.
So now I got my real number. Now my net is my net number. What am I going to net out? So what's my worst case scenario? And then sitting down with there's so many brilliant people out there, again, to your point, that are specialists in tax, and go, your worst case scenario is 6, but I can get you 7.2 if we have the time. Once they sign a letter of intent, once the deal is done, so many of these tax treatments come off the table. You've got to do it well before you sell your business, or even in the process of selling your company. And then once you know what that net number is, what's your lifestyle number? What is, when you sit down with your financial advisor going, hey, what do I need to live my ideal lifestyle? And if that number is 6 and your net number is 7.2, hey, who cares? Now you can sell and you can live your ideal lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's really worth. Because you have these people go, oh man, I could work for 5 more years and make that much money. Yeah. You could. It also could drop dead tomorrow. Your business you could lose your biggest customer tomorrow. The industry could completely change. AI could take you out of business tomorrow. So that's where entrepreneurs always think it's always double, when we all know very few companies go like this year after year after year after year. So that's why we try to help them go, yeah, before you even sign up with us, let's just make sure the numbers make sense. If they don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll show you what you can do to enhance the value, and then you can work on that with a coach. I recommend working with coaches. Going back to your earlier question, I recommend working with a coach. So for companies that are usually doing 1 to 15 in revenue, we've seen a lot of great work by Cultivate. It's a nationwide group, Cultivate Advisors, and then above 10 million in sales, scaling up. There's about 300 coaches worldwide with scaling up, and they do an outstanding job. And there's others out there that are good as well. Those are the two that we've had some really good experiences with. But what they do is they really, not only do they probably point out some things that you didn't see because they can really dive in, but they're also going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Because what I've found with business owners is we'll show them, okay, the numbers don't make sense. Great. Here's the 2 things you can do to enhance the value, and only 2. We don't give them 40 different things. And they go, okay, I got it. I don't need anybody, and they'll do it for about a month or 2. And then they'll go back into what they've done for 30 years, 10, 20, 30, 50 years, and they'll come to us a year later and be the same or less even sometimes because they're burnt out a little bit and going, oh my gosh, I just wasted a year of my life. I didn't increase the value at all.
Yeah.
And I'm a year older and I just wasted a year of my life. So by bringing in a coach, you can usually help you get there faster and better. And they're usually a good investment that more than pay for themselves over the long haul.
Yeah, scaling up, that's the master, the Rockefeller's habit.
That's right. Yeah,
this book's a Bible. This book is a Bible. Yeah. I think we have to look at it every year because your business changed so much, and that's a great first step. It's cost $20, even if you don't have the money for the coaches.
Right.
Just get the book. That's going to help you out. So 3 numbers: real market value, your net number, and lifestyle number. Right?
That's correct.
The only one you kind of have to figure out yourself is the lifestyle number. The RMV and the net number, you don't really control it. Like someone's going to sell it. You control how you can improve it.
We're going to tell you what it's worth. At the end of the day, you got to figure out. That's why the financial advisors are so great, because as you know, the good ones, they can run all these what if scenarios. So you can plug in, I want to buy a house, I want to do this, I want to live off of $400,000 a year, whatever it is, and then they can back up to, okay, you need this much, and how much do you have, and then you can see what that wealth gap is, what EPI talks about, it's such a clear path, because otherwise somebody wakes up one day and go, I want to sell, I have no idea what it's worth, I have no idea what my net number is going to be, I have no idea what I need to live, please God, let it work out, and it's a gut wrenching, and they have no idea. And I see people live with millions of dollars, very, very frugal, feeling guilty every time they spent any money because they just never sat down and going, how much can I really spend each year and still be okay? And why live like that? Why not understand what kind of lifestyle you can live like? And that's where, again, it takes a team to help with a business owner get through the sale of their business. It's not, I can't do it by myself, the financial advisor, the CPA, the tax folks. It's everybody coming together for the benefit of the client to really help put together the best strategy possible and the best sale possible.
Yeah, and you've written about unsolicited offers, right? And you have a white paper specifically on this.
Yes.
And for owners like who've received that flattering call, right? Walk us through what's actually happening on the other side. Like, what does the buyer know that the business owner doesn't?
No. So this is, if you get anything from a business owner, if you get anything out of this, is do not accept an unsolicited offer before you talk to an investment banker. Because again, their job as a buyer is to do 2 things. It's to buy your company for as little as possible and to put as much risk on the seller. So if it doesn't work out as good as they think they will, the seller takes a hit even more on value versus the seller. That's it. That is, think about it. When you go buy a house, you're not going to go, Joey, you seem like a really nice guy. I'm going to pay an extra $50,000 or $150,000. It's like, how much can I negotiate for to get it for as little as possible? And just to give an example, and then I'll get into some specifics, but to give you an example that most people will understand, again, going back to the housing scenario, is think if you and your family are looking for a house, and your realtor calls you up and says, hey, it's a Wednesday, I think I got the perfect house for you. It's in the school district you want, it's the square footage you want, the backyard that you wanted, everything that you were looking for. And you go, well, I'm a little busy today, I'm busy this week, can I go Saturday or Sunday? Like, oh, let me call. And they call back, go, you know what, you can go Saturday, you can go Sunday, you can go next week Saturday or Sunday. It's been on the market for 110 days. There's nobody looking at it. There's been no offers. For whatever reason, you can go Saturday or Sunday. Let's just say it's listed at $1 million for easy numbers. So it's $1 million house. What are you gonna, what value, what offer are you gonna put on the house if you're the only buyer in the table and no one else has been there and been on the market for 110 days? So now, same house, scenario number 2, same house, same square footage, same everything else. Get a call, hey, I think we found the perfect house for you guys. It's everything you've been looking for, school district, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, great, I'm busy today. Can I go Saturday? Saturday, there's already 5 showings on Thursday. I got you the 6th, and all the offers are due on Friday at noon. You go there, you look at it, it's everything you're looking for, and you've been looking for 3 months. Now what value are you gonna put in that house? probably asking or even more than asking. You went from an 800,000 maybe offer to $1.1 million, or whatever it might be. And then the third scenario is, as you're walking out of that house, the seventh couple's walking in, and it's just that family that you can't stand. Like he or she, they think they know it all, or their kid beat up your kid at school, or whatever it might be, and they're like, "Hey, Joey, get out of this house. That's my house. You can't afford this house. I'll outbid you." And now you're like, "Over my dead body, I'm buying this house." And now that's the synergy of the buyers going, "Well, I can't let my competitor buy it. No, I've got to buy it." And so you might put 3 different values on the exact same house. And that's what we do as investment bankers at Cornerstone, is that's what we're creating, is we're telling the right story, the best story possible, to the right group of buyers, putting no asking price in the company. We're running a process where we're controlling the flow of information, we're keeping it confidential, we're controlling timing, we're asking for all the offers at one time, and then we get to negotiate from there. So like last year we averaged 8 offers per client, because so now who has the leverage? If it's one buyer and one seller, the buyer has all the tricks. They're going to tell you, and what we hear a lot, and in fact, I just heard this the other day, is the buyer will tell you, even sometimes they'll even tell you a high number. They'll tell you a crazy multiple and go, "Holy cow, well, geez, if I can get that, that's more than I ever thought." Well, then they're like, "Well, just sign this LOI here." And now they got exclusivity. Once they sign the LOI as a seller, and you get exclusivity, the deal's kind of done. Your fate has been sealed, because now they have control. You can't bring any other buyers to the table. The deal's already cut, so you really don't need to bring an investment bank in or anybody else. The best thing you're going to do is get that value in there. But what's going to happen is now they're going to drag you out, and they're going to drag, I'll close quick in 45, 60 days, Joey. 9 months later, you're still talking about it, and you're getting tired, and you're wearing down. And guess what you're not spending time on? Your business. So now they go, "Yeah, Joey, I told you I'd buy it at 5 multiple, but it used to be 2 million. Well, now it's $1.5 million in your TTM, your trailing 12 months. So we can close next week, but you got to take that $2.5 million haircut, Joey. You want to do that? Oh my gosh, it's been 9 months. I've dragged through the mud. You're burnt out. You're tired, and you take a big haircut at the end of the day, or they walk away and you plead for them to come back, and then they lower the price. And it's sad, but that's what happens a lot of times and again, not everybody, but that is a playbook that gets played, is that they'll tell you what you want to hear, and they just keep chiseling away at the value with QOVs and other due diligence items and everything else, until they get to the number that they knew they were going to pay to begin with, which is much less than what they offered, and probably much less than what the true fair market value is. Because just to give you an idea, we just did a deal about a month ago, and it was a smaller deal. It was but a great business out west someplace, and the business owner, the financial advisor, actually called us. I think they saw me speak somewhere and said, "Hey Scott, we'd like you to talk with our client. They're talking to a buyer," which most business owners are talking to buyers right now. It's amazing how much money's out there chasing deals, because again, they get a better deal. And this will prove the point. So they said, they got an interested buyer. They don't know what it's worth. They've never had a valuation done or an RMA, and they just want to make sure they're not leaving any money on the table. I said, "Well, where are you at?" Well, they started at 5 million and then negotiated up to 10 million, but it's all earn out from 5 to 10 million. If we'd have to be really, really good and grow crazy for us to get the full 10 million. So they said, "We want you to do an RMA." So we did the RMA, and as they presented, they're talking the 10 million. The buyer said, "Hey, look, just so you know, this is as high as we can go. We shouldn't have even gone this high. We really like you, but this is our last and final offer. If you don't like the 10 million with the 5 million at close and 5 million earn out, we're not the right fit, and good luck." So she signed an agreement with us, and she sent them an email going, "Hey guys, I like you guys. I want to keep you in the process, but just so you know, I think I'm going to work with Cornerstone to make sure I do this right. I only get one chance to do this." Within 5 minutes, her phone rings. "Hey, what's it going to take for you not to sign with Cornerstone? Or how much more money do you want not to sign with Cornerstone?" Because they knew if we ran a process, we brought multiple buyers together, the price was going to go up. And they stayed in the process. They were not the buyer that the seller chose at the end of the day. And we ended up closing that deal at $14 million with 85% cash at close. So they got like $12 million cash at close versus the 5 that they would have got. And she would have saved a fee, but she would have never known, how much money she left on the table. And it's life-changing money. It's not Cornerstone's fees $500,000. I'm going to get $500,000. It's like, no, we're typically getting, on average with our process, we're getting like 20% more than what the market is, what those valuations come in at. And because again, it all comes down to the competition. People pay more when there's competition, there's urgency and scarcity. And that's what we get to, we get to do.
That's very interesting. And that's the POMO process, right? The power of multiple offers. That's
Yes.
crazy. That's a 7 million more upfront. And then that's a 40% increase as well. What do you think that's due to?
Yeah, it just comes down to purely, again, going back to the house story. I mean, think of the emotional pressure, the competition that you have, the scarcity of, hey, this is the perfect house. We've been looking for 3 months.
Yeah.
If we don't get this one, who knows when we're ever going to find a house. The school starts next month and we got to be in the school district. It's that kind of pressure that gets on. And it's simply creating urgency and scarcity. And, another example of that is look at the draft, the NFL draft.
Yeah.
It was just in Green Bay, and it was insane. For 50 years, it was this sleepy thing that had to happen as NFL teams, people got hurt, people retired, they had to get new kids in and play. Yeah. So they just did a draft, and it was in New York, the largest city, United States, for 50 years. At its biggest, it had, I think it was at the Radio City Hall, 6,000 people. So 6,000 people there, couple camera crews, and then someone decided, hey, what if we take this thing on the road? Instead of having it the same place, same time, every time, what if we took it on the road and we created POMO, where all these teams and all these cities bid on having it there. And if they bid on it, they were going to bring all this money to this amazing event, and this event that's small and sleepy is going to become awesome. Well, just to give you an idea, it's been going on now for about 10 years. Green Bay's population is 107,000 people. New York's is about 8.5 million. Yeah. New York had 6,000 people. Green Bay had 600,000 people.
That's crazy, yeah?
It's now the second largest event that the NFL puts on besides the Super Bowl. It makes the second most money to the Super Bowl. And it was just somebody going, let's let teams and cities bid on this, having it here, and we're taking it all around the country. And not only do they get all the sponsors and all the excitement and all the investment into the infrastructure, but now me as a fan, I'm in Wisconsin, in Green Bay, going, it's never coming back to Green Bay in my lifetime. If I don't go now, I'm never going to see this thing. Versus, well, it'll be here next year. Well, it's kind of crappy weather, I'm going to go next year. No, it's here once in my lifetime. So it created that urgency for the fans, and that's what brought 600,000 people through the gates in 3 days. So that's really what we create, is this urgency, this scarcity, this competition within all the buyers out there. When you don't put an asking price on that, and you got the best story possible, what the future is and how great this company can be, and you're talking with all the right buyers that have all the synergies where 1 + 1 = 3 or 4, not just 2, that is the only way a business owner is ever going to know what their true value of the company is. And on top of that, they get to choose who the best fit is, because it might not, it's a lot of times it's not always the highest value. It might be the second highest value, but they're going to protect my employees, or they have a better culture fit to mine than this other buyer, or I get to leave in 3 months versus I have to stay for 3 years, or vice versa. There's so many variables that go into a deal, and that's where the owners get to truly, they get to finish strong. Like the book I wrote, they get to finish strong and choose who is that best fit for the next generation of the business, the legacy, the employees, and in the community.
Yeah. So basically, right, be careful about, if you just have one offer, you're doing it wrong. Right? Make sure that you have more eyes to look into it and see. It's a shark industry.
100%. Yeah. If you're going to do one offer, it's flattering. It's exciting. Like if I called you yesterday, go, hey, I really like your company. Man, you build up a great company. I would love to buy your company. It's flattering. Somebody's validated the 5 years of work that you offered.
It's your identity,
that,
right? Like as a business owner, it's your identity, their business. So
it is. And you hear all the right things, and that's what it is. They know all the right things to say to pump up your ego. And and we all have egos. It's good. You have to have an ego. It's not negative. It's like, no, I built this thing, and someone's validated my baby and telling me it's a good looking baby, and boy, your kid's a good athlete, and you feel proud.
For sure.
But then you just don't know what the true value is. And they are, again, why would they pay more than they have to if they're the only buyer at the table?
Of course. No, it makes total sense.
And that's what we bring to the table. And that's really, with all the money out there, record amount of money, record amount of buyers, that is the number one mistake business owners are making now. In fact, I was just at a national EO conference speaking to the entrepreneur organization, and these are well-educated business owners, more than most. And one of the sellers raised their hand saying, if you got an unsolicited offer today, how many of you would sell? And everybody kind of looked around. All of a sudden, hands started going up. Like, yeah, I would. I bet you it's like 50 to 60% of the room raised their hand.
That's crazy.
And that's right on with our study that showed that 55% said if they got an unsolicited offer that they assumed was reasonable. Again, 60+% have never had a valuation done, but if they assumed it was reasonable, they wouldn't check with anyone. They would just do the deal. 55% in our national study. So that's why that's why private groups keep doing it, because it works.
Yeah, because your business, you're never going to get the price that you want. Like, if you're ready to sell right now, it's like you're looking for a way out. So you're admitting that your business is not as valuable as it could be. So that's crazy.
Yeah, you just don't know. You have no idea. And that's the game. And that's just private equity. It's family office. It's corporate. I mean, if we work for a buy-side client, we do the exact same thing. We're trying to get sellers to raise their hand that aren't on the marketplace, because we know we'll get a better deal than if we were competing against 5 or 10 other buyers on the table, around the table.